Good afternoon. This is the next day, and we are about to take off the clamps. It has dried for enough time now. So we take off the clamps. And now we can go to the next stage of our project of the model house, which is in scale 1 to 72. So these are the two. This is already the facade, which has to be carved still, and here as well it has to be carved, and we have to still glue the sides. As you can see, the sides have to be glued, and the roof has to be arranged in some or another way. Now I have thought out a modification. First I told you that this would be a cardboard roof, and now I've thought it will be cardboard, but the base will be massive wood, because like that I can make the roof slightly hollow, to imitate an old house, so that it isn't perfectly straight. When it's perfectly straight, it might be very dull. On the other hand, when we would use a massive piece of wood as a spacer here, we can make it a little bit hollow, and like that we get realistic, a more realistic effect. Yeah. So in order to know the distance of the spacer, we're going to clamp well, this is the ugly side, which I used for painting when I was a kid as a base. This is poplar wood, and as you might see, it's slightly tapered. I keep the thick side at the bottom, and do this at both sides. Yes, and I sand it away. As you can see, there's some kind of this is also the same wood, some kind of coating of coloring, and I sanded it off so that the glue can stick to it. So we put both sides already like that, and this is in order to know the distance of our spacer. Now temporarily we put two clamps on each side, so that it won't move. And we don't put a lot of pressure on the clamps, just a little bit. And let me see, like that it's still possible to move it somehow. Yes, because like that we can move it still. What we want is these sides will stick out some tenths of a millimeter more, and like that we can file it even with this surface. We do that at both sides. Yes, it's even here, and here it's even as well. So the next step is to measure how much our spacer needs to be. And the spacer would be made of a piece of massive pine. I'm still not completely sure if I'm going to do this, because the wood would be quite heavy, and I would want to reduce the weight as much as possible of our scenery. And if I'm going to make houses which are that massive, it means that it adds a lot of weight to your project. So we might just use cardboard. Maybe yes, maybe it's possible. We can try it. We can laminate two cardboards together and make them a little bit hollow. We can laminate it. because it would be a lot of weight. That's a fact. As you can see, this is the house already in progress. We have to when we are after we glue the sides, both sides, we have to with the chisel, we have to cut away the excess or with a little saw or something like that, or a knife, and sand away, file it away, but very carefully. Both sides here, the excess has to be cut away in the same angle as this second angle here. There's a little angle here, an extra angle, which makes that there is an inclination in the roof, change of inclination of angle. Let me think. So will we do a cardboard one or not? If we don't put a cardboard one, I have another possibility, and that is the following. I have some strips of maple. I think this is maple. Yes, it is. And we will glue this as the top of the roof on top. But in order to be able to glue this on top, we need to file this flat a little bit, which is not a problem because this is just a spacer and won't be visible anymore. Because after, let me look for a piece of wood, after we are going to glue here a thicker piece of wood, and it will be protruding like this, and like that we get this old historical facade, front of a house. At both sides they will be sticking out a little bit, sticking out. So it has to be thicker wood, poplar too, or any wood, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be poplar because it won't be carved. This part will be where is it? Ah, here you are. This part will be with woodwork and plaster imitation. That part will be with lots of strips of wood, which will be from coffee stirring sticks. And yeah, that's another theme. So what we do now is we will glue those sides together like it is now. What I will do is I get a pencil, now that I align them more or less, and I mark the insides so that I know how much to where I have to apply the glue. I will apply glue, a thin coat of glue on both sides. So we did that, and let me think. Will I do this with a chisel now or later? I think it's easier to do it now before the assembly. And oh, that's not good. I will file this flat now that it is with the clamps. Or can I do it later? Let me think. No, we can do that later, and it's more sturdy, it's more strong, it's stronger when it's glued instead of the clamps. Yeah, and I will use as a file a piece of sandpaper, grit 80. I will use it and a file first, and then after a sandpaper very carefully. So let's get started. Let's start to glue the things together, and no, first we'll cut away the excess. Just in case, I mark here a line. In order to know what is the excess, the waste material, and I connect those. So like that I know what to cut away. And I do that on the four corners in order to know what we have to remove and what not. I'm happy I didn't decide to put a massive spacer, because it would add too much weight. And if every house would be made like that, it's madness. Okay, now we will cut that away with a, let me think, I might use a little iron saw, metal saw. A little metal saw will do the work. And I do this in the bench vise. And before I forget, this thicker wood with all the strips of coffee sticks, we will glue that when the coffee sticks and everything is assembled on that piece of wood. We will put it ready there because it will be easier before gluing it, before the assembly, to make this piece. So we use our, no, I can use just a small fine tooth saw and put it vertically. Very softly we saw. No, like that. You can see already one is even. We will file it a little bit. Now do the other one. But let me look for a little file. Let me see if I can find a file. Yes, here is one. In fact, I'm looking for another one. Can't find it. Like that. Just a little bit with a file. That's enough. And the next step is that we do this with the four corners, and then we can glue the sides everywhere. Okay, till the next video then. Thank you for watching and good luck with your projects.